It's hard to remember a time when the PlayStation wasn't one of the dominating forces on the console market. Right alongside the Xbox and whatever name Nintendo has come up with this time, the PlayStation has been at the forefront of gaming for about the better part of 2 decades. So obviously there's going to be some secrets that both the games and the console have been hiding along the way. Whether it's something as simple as the startup screen or some console exclusive goodies, the PlayStation has its fair share of hidden wonders just waiting for players to find. And quite honestly, we all missed some of Sony's best work. That simply cannot do, so what better way to celebrate the consoles and their incredible achievements than a deep dive through the finest secrets Sony has to offer, especially when they're so well hidden. Buckle up, things are about to get nostalgic, scary, and just a little bit informative. I am the not so scary but very informative Kirsten from WhatCulture Gaming, and these are 10 massive PlayStation secrets we all missed. Number 10, she's behind you, PT. Kojima, you son of a bitch. You've done it again. In one of gaming's greatest tragedies, PT was meant to be the next step in horror games, the reinvention of the Silent Hill brand, and the evolution of a genre long thought dead. So that meant pretty much everybody who thought of themselves as game fans simply had to play PT, and almost nobody understood it. In fact, most of us still don't. Perhaps the most terrifying thing that has just recently been discovered is the fact that the game's resident ghost lady Lisa was previously thought to pop up sometimes just when it was right to scare the player into oblivion and then disappear back into the ether whence she came. However, with some nice little camera hacks, players recently discovered that not only does she not do that, she's actually been right behind you the entire time. Yes, when the player turns their camera, usually there's nothing but empty space, but when the camera isn't facing the corridor, the terrifying Lisa is constantly behind you, making noises and waiting to spook you just when the time is right. Even years later, this damn demo is still terrifying. Number 9, hidden trophies, PS4. The point of hidden trophies is that they remain, well, hidden. So it's surprising to find that the entire concept has been pretty much thrown out the window in recent years by PlayStation. Now, if you enter your trophy list, navigate to whatever hidden trophy you wish, and click on it, there will be a prompt just below the picture that says Show Hidden Information. Doing so will reveal everything about the trophy bar the actual picture, including the name and the method in which to get it. This one is useful for all the completionists out there who absolutely loathe starting a brand new game just to find out they have to journey online and hope somebody out there has already discovered the trophy for themselves. Then they have to hope that the person has uploaded a screenshot or a video on how to get it. It's a very tough process. Now all they need to do is a simple tap of the square button and go merrily on their way, completing even the most demanding of trophies with just a little more ease. Number 8, the 79 Steps to Enlightenment, Shadow of the Colossus. Gamers are a dedicated bunch. When faced with the insurmountable odds and a secret that might not even be real, Shadow of the Colossus fans haven't stopped looking for over 10 years. A band of heroes known on their forums as the Secret Seekers raged from one extreme to another, asking, why can Wanda stab the desert like he can a Colossus? Why are there 4 runes that can be found and translated to the world map? Where does the bricked up door in the arena lead? And how does it open? So many questions eventually led to an emulator by the name of Nomad Colossus breaking the game, revealing the entirety of the map and showing that no further secrets existed. Doing so caught the attention of the developers of the PS4 remaster, who then reached out and created something only hinted at in the credits, the 79 Steps to Enlightenment. So to give the fans what they wanted, the developers placed 79 small glowing orbs hidden meticulously around the world. Think Koroks in the Breath of the Wild, but harder. Once all were gathered, they opened a secret door under the Shrine of Worship that led to a throne and a new sword. It isn't much, but the fact that the secret was created due to a decade-long search is something truly special. Number 7, remapping buttons, PS4. One of the main things that the PC has always had over the console market is that the entire experience is almost completely customizable. From the inbuilt graphical options to the choice of button mappings, the PC can pretty much do it all when it comes to ease of use and user comfort. Amazingly, the PS4 is the first console ever to have realised just how much people appreciate things like this. And so without even realising, you too can go into the options and choose the buttons on your PS4 to do whatever you want. All you need to do is go to Settings, Accessibility, Button Assignments, and from there you're free to work to your heart's content. The only caveat to the whole process is that the process changes the inputs down to a hardware level, meaning that any game you play will still show the original button prompt, and it's up to your mind to remember which button you switch to what. After all, there's nothing worse than failing a QuickTime event because you just had to change the X button to circle. Number 6. Observing SHABBAT, Marvel's Spider-Man. Marvel's Spider-Man is easily the best superhero game ever made that isn't Arkham City, and with most great Marvel properties, the thing is filled to the brim with secrets. Spanning from the plethora of references to the super secret suits, Spider-Man just does not stop. But perhaps the most impressive and wide-reaching secret in the game is one that the player would literally never have noticed if the developers themselves hadn't spilled the beans a few months ago on Twitter. Every single Saturday, the game checks your system clock. If a player takes a second on ground level to check out the local population, they might notice there's a peculiar lack of Jewish people on the streets, a lot less than there usually is at least. This isn't some sort of anti-Jewish message by the developers, thank God, but instead a reference to the actual Jewish tradition of the Sabbath, during which a member of the Jewish faith is expected to take a rest day. To most people, they wouldn't even realise that there was such a thing as Jewish NPCs that roam the streets of New York, and if you play the game exclusively on Saturdays, you never will. Number 5, there's way more to the light bar than you think. PS4. There's no doubt that anybody with PS4 has noticed their light bar already. The thing glows so bright and powerful it's hard not to be blinded by it when the time calls for some late night gaming. However, the light bar does actually serve a purpose. A couple in fact. Depending on what you're playing, and you really need to be looking down to notice some of these, the bar will change colour and intensity depending on what's happening. For example, Alien Isolation uses the controller to mimic the in-game motion tracker, subtly alerting you to when the alien is nearby. GTA 5 makes the light bar flash red and blue to simulate police sirens, and Borderlands changes depending on what element the player is currently using. The list is never ending. Also, when charging the PS4 controller, you'll notice that the light bar flashes and pulses along with a charge, and most likely just assume that means it's charging. However, watching the pulsing reveals that the light actually slows down the better charged the controller is, until eventually the whole light turns off when fully charged. It's the small details like this that make Sony's console such a standout in today's market. Let's just hope the PS5 can do it too. Number 4, Baldur flipping us off. God of War 2018. The more research one does into video game secrets, the more obvious it becomes that developers just love to hide things off camera. So in another excellent camera hack, one intrepid Twitter user, @ManFightDragon, discovered that after a grueling boss battle against a man who can't die, the ever-peaceful Kratos snaps his neck and chucks him off a cliff. However, then the man proceeds to flip Kratos off as he tumbles into the depths. Yes, as if to add insult to injury, Baldur isn't just content with taking away the satisfaction of a good kill, he also has to make sure that he degrades you as much as possible while he does so, like a proper video game villain should do. And what better way to do that than swearing behind your back in an Easter egg that took near enough 2 whole years to find. It's only a matter of time now before the madman that did this finds whatever other secrets undoubtedly lie behind the veil of this wonderful game. Let's just hope it doesn't turn out to be Thor flossing off camera. Number 3, Save Blocks, PS2. Cast your mind back to the old days, the days when there weren't any cares in the world other than school, fun, and the PlayStation 2. Countless hours were spent on one of Sony's most successful consoles, and for good reason too. The exclusives were fantastic, boasting PlayStation staples like the Metal Gear Solid franchise, Jak and Daxter, and Ratchet and Clank, just to name a few. As soon as you booted up that console and heard the little system music that, along with the GameCube's little jingle, is probably lodged in your brain forever, you knew it was a good day. But if you found out that the iconic startup screen is actually influenced by your memory card, yes, the little towers that appear on boot up aren't just there for decoration. Each one represents a different save slot and game. The bigger the tower, the more time spent playing. It's something that as kids nobody ever realised was a thing. In fact, many of us probably wouldn't even have noticed a change in the towers as we played. Instead, you probably lived in fear that the lovely blue would turn to dark red, symbolising the death of a disc and the end of your Friday night fun. Number 2, Doubt Confidants, Persona 5. Persona 5 is a game about making friends, falling in love, and experiencing the life of an average, everyday teenager in the streets of Tokyo. Oh, and there's also something about a phone app that leads to a cognitive universe. But ignoring that, let's focus on one of the game's main systems, confidants. Basically, what a confidant entails is that near every NPC the player encounters can be talked to and befriended. The player then keeps track of this through a scale that goes from 1 to 10. In the previous games in the series, there was a way to break or even reverse the confidant, which essentially meant meant that the player had said something wrong and now their anime waifu was too mad to talk to them. This feature doesn't return in Persona 5, but once again, thanks to people digging into the game files, they discovered that not only did the system exist at one point, but it was also pretty much done. Every single confidant in the game isn't a member of the player's party, has a fully animated and scripted event where doubt triggers along with a newly stylized tarot card and on-screen graphics. Stranger yet, the feature doesn't seem to have made a return in the re-released Persona 5 Royal. Why did Atlus decide against the feature? We can only wonder. Number 1. The startup sound, PS1. Let's not beat around the bush. Everybody above 20 has the PS1 startup sound ingrained almost instinctively into their heads. Even if you don't think you do, watch this video right now and let that sweet nostalgia wash over you. But did you know that the startup sound wasn't just intended to be the most relaxing and satisfying mix of synths and electronics ever associated with a console? The most likely answer is no. The original composer Takafumi Fujisawa made the startup music intentionally to let devs and the player know when a game was working properly, and when the game was ready to start. If you've ever heard the part that plays with the actual PlayStation logo on screen, repeating in some sort of way that can only be described as PlayStation possession, then that isn't just your console. That's the way Takafumi designed it so that he would know the disc couldn't be read. It's incredible really that the man managed to make something so essential to the console sound so goddamn good in the process. And that's our list. Were you aware of any of these facts? Leave us a comment below and let us know. If you haven't already, make sure to click that subscribe button. But for now, I've been Kirsten Ria, and I'm gonna have that PlayStation sound stuck in my head all day now. Classic.